Today we're going to be talking about clarity of your campaign goal. How do you think through it? How do I think through it? How we've done it? How am I doing it for our clients? And I've been blessed enough just based on how I've been able to learn and do this industry. It helped me out a lot. And by the way, I wasn't born into this, right? If this is your first training or course from me, my name is Terrell Jones. I'm from the south side of the Bronx. I didn't know anybody who was successful as an entrepreneur. I didn't know anybody making 6-7 figures. I didn't know anybody doing ads. I definitely didn't know anybody in this online marketing space. And but I was blessed enough to go from the hood to college, right? And I went to college. I went to an HBCU, and I was in a place where I was kind of really just trying to figure myself out. And so I graduated with my bachelor's degree in computer engineering and my master's degree in project management. So my whole career outside of this was cybersecurity. I'm still very knowledgeable in it, but I got about 14 years of cybersecurity experience. So that was my career outside of this. But there was a point where while I was going through college that I realized a lot of my friends didn't really have, and my fraternity brothers didn't have the same fate in terms of getting into a career path that was lucrative that they really wanted to get into. So I had the bright idea, and I said, well, why don't I teach people it? I found it hard, struggling at first to really find people who are interested in it. And I spent a lot of time trying to convince people to be interested in what I have, which, right, that's why people don't really like it, because it's like, oh, you got to be salesy, but you don't really. It's just because I didn't understand how to attract people instead of chase people. And I realized that when I started getting into advertising, that was more about attracting people. And that's why I'm like, oh my God, thank God, this had to be heaven sent, because that's what I wanted. I don't want to have to twist anybody on to be interested in my topic or my offer or my product or my service. I want to be able to present what I know and present what I have and say, look, if this is something that you want, you can have it. So when I discovered the ability to run paid advertisement, it was great. I just had to learn the skills, and that's where I'm probably meeting you at today, where you know that it's important, which is why you have access to the course right now. But you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the strategy behind it? How can I use this? All right, so let's start off with number one. The point of this video is. You have to really understand and be very clear on what your campaign goal is. Your campaign goal is, what is the objective of why you're even running the ads? A lot of times we want to be successful, but we don't know the point of why we're doing it. We don't know the point of why we're even running the ads, or why are we even trying to get leads, right? Are you trying to get more traffic to your website? Are you trying to collect names and emails and phone numbers so you can set at a later date, or because you got an upcoming promotion? Are you doing it to book calls on your calendar? Are you doing it for brand awareness like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, right? So I can tell you this, that there's a lot of different campaign goals. And when you go into Facebook, you'll see that, they'll ask you, what is your objective? But this is what I'm going to say. My recommendation is that if you have a service-based business, your goal is going to be to get leads, right? Your leads, we consider leads is you have somebody's contact information. Our goal is name, email, and or phone number. That is what our goal is. The reason is, especially if your service-based business is, you're going to have some people who are going to be interested in what you have now, and then you're going to have some people who are going to be interested in what you have later. But at the end of the day, you can never follow up with them if you don't have their contact information. And then there's going to be a certain percentage of those people who are going to want to do business with you. So that's number one is just realize that you want to run a campaign that's going to generate you leads. Now, this is the biggest challenge that I've seen over the last 8 years of working with service providers specifically. What I've learned is that a lot of times they don't really know who their niche audience is. So let's talk about that for a minute. So to run ads, Facebook ads successfully, is going to be very important that you understand who your niche audience is, also known as your ideal client, your ideal audience, your target market, right? You got to really get clear on that. And we'll talk more about that later. But the reason that that's important is because a lot of what you're going to be saying and doing is going to be to attract that ideal client. But if you don't know who that is, you're going to find it very difficult to be successful in attracting them. So you want to be super clear on who you're helping and then what are you helping them with. Now, in order to really understand that, we gotta say, okay, what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses? What can I help people with? Usually I say, especially if you're in more like a coaching consulting role, but this happens with all service providers. But what is your education, expertise, or experience? All service providers, regardless of what service you provide, you have either education, expertise, or experience. So with that being said, you want to be able to know, okay, this is what I have, and based on what I know or what I have on my education, this is what I can provide this target audience. And that's important because once you understand what you could provide and then you understand who you're helping, then we can start to create a successful campaign, because we're also going to talk about in this series about messaging, and that's going to be important. And I can say, okay, I can create a resource that solves for those problems. So you want to think about this ahead of time. So when we're running the ads, then now you can say, okay, I got something that I know they're going to want. I'm not guessing. I'm not just putting something against the wall. I got a pretty good idea what they want. How do you know that? You can do surveys. You can ask people. If you have had clients before, you can ask your clients. You can do research. You can see what other people are offering or other people in your niche. What are they doing or what are they offering? Because if 5 gurus in your space is all talking about the same problems, it's probably problems that everybody in your industry is facing. You know what I mean? So you can just get information that way. So you want to focus on, so that's one of the pieces that you really want to pay attention to. Not just the problems, but also the goal. The goal is, what do they want? So let's go back to the coaching example. If I'm looking at coaches, I know they want to generate revenue. I know they probably want to go full time in their business at some point. I know they want financial freedom. I know they want to be able to transform and change lives, right? You don't get into this space unless you really want to transform and change lives and help people, make life easier for people and whatever you're coaching and consulting them in, right? So if I know the problems and I know the goals, then I have a good idea of a resource that I can create to be able to serve them. Facebook ads is like fine wine. Like as time goes on, it's just the pixel is gonna optimize even more, right? And they're gonna do a better job at finding your ideal client. But as of right now, you want to focus on the lead campaign, and then you want to focus on starting off, even if it's just $5 a day, $10 a day. That's what, $300 at the end of the month if you do $10 a day, right? Now, how much are you charging for your product or service? Right? Even if it's not high ticket, usually high ticket is usually less than $2,000. So even if your program is $1,000 or $1,500, you spent $300. Let's just say, and this is low to be honest, but let's just say you only got 100 leads, right, for the month. Which if you follow everything I'm telling you in this course, you will get more than 100 leads in a month. But let's just say you only got 100, lowballing it. Even if that was the case, then if you got 1 out of 100 people, do you think you can get you don't even got to be good at sales. If you can get 1 out of 100 people to say yes to your offer, you just made $1,500, which means that you did what we call print money. That's what that means. You printed money, meaning you set up a successful funnel where you set up the ad, you started running the ad, they hit a landing page, which is what we talked about, the one-page website, which is something that you need to set up. So make sure that you set up your landing page, right? And I'm gonna give you one addition in addition to that. Make sure that you have a CRM too. A CRM is a customer relationship management platform. That's basically where you can send emails, because you're not going to send it through your Gmail. You need to start building your email list if you haven't already started doing that. Now, you might already be advanced at the time of getting this, and you're like, yo, Terrell, I understand this. I got this already, and great. Kudos to you. All right, I'll drop some advanced nuggets as we go through here. But just in terms of understanding the process, realize that you're going to be sending emails, so you need a CRM. This CRM not only sends emails, but it'll also usually CRMs have a landing page too, that you're going to create this one-page website on. And if you already have one, great. But if you don't, you can sign up for something like ConvertKit or MailChimp. And then once you sign up, MailChimp.com. And then once you sign up for that, now people can start signing up and you'll start collecting those name, emails, and phone numbers that we talked about earlier. So now that that happens, then guess what? They opted in. They became a lead because you have their contact information, name, email, and phone number. And now that you have that, all you're doing now is basically customer service, and you'll get a certain percentage of people that'll sign up.